when we get to Dublin, when we go into the dressing room, and when you put on the gear going out, you're going out to go to work like. And that's for the 70 minutes or the 80 minutes, whatever it is, you're going out like you're going out to do a job, and that's when it gets serious.
We had been waiting, I suppose, 12 months to get out on that pitch again. So, I mean, fellas were very focused that, look, we know the challenge ahead and we're going to rise to it, and that was the key thing.
Going into this year's final, I was very, very surprised of how overwhelming favourites people made Kilkenny. Like the one reminder I always reminded people of was last year's final and how lucky we were to come out on the right side of that result.
Having been in the previous final in 2009, you're very anxious to fast forward to September. You want to get back up there again, but it's a long road.
I don't think we need to be too much motivated this year. I suppose the hurt and the hunger of last year's defeat, that's what really was driving us on.
When you're out there, only one thing matters, to win it. And it was just set up for a great final, and it turned out to be a great final.
I did feel going in they were better than last year, going into the final, no doubt. The reason is, I suppose, that we had the experience of 2009. We had the hurt, I suppose, we gathered from the game in May, which only magnified, I suppose, the experience people had of 2009. And we had games every single week, you could say, at a different level each time. So from the bar against Wexford to the bar against Waterford, I mean, it was going up all the time. And I mean, we had passed every test. And we showed good control, I suppose, in the game against Waterford, which set us up huge confidence to face Kilkenny.
You know, we met the morning of the game in Kilkenny and everyone seemed very relaxed. You know, it was, you know, we'd been there before. I suppose this year it was a little bit extra special, you know, and we met outside Langton's in Kilkenny, and, you know, we made our way to Dublin, and it was the very same atmosphere on the bus on the way up as it has been for any game, you know, and I honestly thought that we were in a very good position going up to that game, you know, and everything had gone so well. We got the two boys, Henry and John, back from you know, year-ending injuries, and, you know, everything was leading towards 3:30 on the day, and, you know, we couldn't have prepared any better than we did.
I think once we got to Croke Park this year, we were so well prepared, which is great from the management and the trainer's point of view, and there was so much hunger there that I don't think anything was going to stop us on that particular day. I think we came into the game in a nice position, underdogs, and not much talk about Tipperary, and nobody gave us much of a chance really, and I think any day you go into a big game like that, it's a perfect way to be going.
It's time for the action. A huge battle of hearts and minds and willpower expected. Will Kilkenny, under Brian Cody, prevail this afternoon and become the history makers? Can Tipperary produce a match-winning performance? We've got 70 minutes to provide us with an answer. Conor O'Mahony has it for Tipperary. Big clearance, huge one down. John O'Brien competing for it. It's won, however, by Tommy Welsh. The referee has blown his whistle and signals that there was a foul down there, and it's going to be a free in for Tipperary.
As a free taker, I suppose you have the luxury of settling into a game by taking the frees, and thankfully once the first one goes well, the rest of them tend to follow suit. You know, the previous day against Waterford, the first one didn't go well, and I had a bad day at the office, but no, I think you need to take every chance against Kilkenny, you know, and thankfully for me that day with the frees, they all worked out, and as you said, we got a great start, and I suppose the goal came at the right time.
As Shane McGrath wins that, huge one down towards Lark Corbett, he's got it, he's scored! A goal by Lark Corbett! his 17th ever in championship hurling. A crucial one here, coming after 10 minutes, and it's 1-3 to a point. It was a huge delivery. All of a sudden, Lark Corbett was one-on-one there. Beat his man, beat the goalkeeper.
I mean, the ball was pucked out and we had snuck into a 3-1 lead, but we were playing very well, and we were bringing a huge intensity to the game. Both teams, both sides were. The game was being played at a frantic pace, and the stands were just. You felt literally like the stand was coming in on top of you when you were on the sideline, and the ball was pucked out. And Shane McGrath had a mammoth catch out in the middle of the park and struck it in, and all of a sudden it's 1v1. And in fairness to Larry, he's been doing it all year, catching. A fabulous catch again under pressure from Noel, and struck it on his left into back of the net, and it just gave us that bit of breathing space, and how badly we needed that breathing space.
I would always try to say to myself, try and get onto the right side of a backman. And I suppose in the semi-finals, it was the same way. It was a long ball in from Pádraig Maher, and the first goal in the final, it was the very same ball in. There was no difference. It's just to get on the right side of the backman. And lucky enough there, Noel Hickey, he was in there. Look, he kind of slipped a small bit, Any other day it could have been myself that slipped. I just got a bit of luck there. When I got the ball into the hand, I would have said I'd be confident enough there, that I should find the net. And I suppose that's the forward's job as well.
I face Larry every night of the week up in training, and most of the times that Larry gets it coming through, we just go for the puck and out hurley, to be honest, because if you throw yourself in front of him, he'll tap it over your head messing. If you don't turn your back, then he'll do like he did to PJ Ryan, who stood up to him, he'll just drill it past you. So in fairness to Larry, he's got a great knack and a great cool head, and it was great to see him getting the opportunity.
I suppose we have thrived on scoring goals ourselves many times in matches, and it has been put down as one of the main reasons why we've, I suppose, have been successful, and it is without a shadow of a doubt. And goals matter, and they lift the team, and they lift players, and they give confidence and everything else. And certainly that did contribute to Tipperarys' level of performance in the game.
A lot of the Tipperary players are under 21, about 5 of them, but they have experience of playing in last year's All-Ireland final. That just might stand to them yet, as Henry Shefflin plays it in here towards TJ Reid. This could be a rapid response. Oh, what a stop by Brendan Cummins. Still in play. Stopped there by Paul Curran. Gets it away here. Spotted the attentions there of Aidan Fogarty. Makes the clearance.
Henry, while he was on, was creating goal chances, I felt. Because he's flicks and all, even though he might have been at 100%, but his brain was at 100% faster than most people, so he was still putting himself in positions, and he flicked the ball down for TJ. He'd come through and he probably struck it a little bit early, but thankfully I was able to get a hurley to it and just get it out to the side, because I think with Kilkenny forwards, I'd always been aware that if you do stop it, it needs to go a long ways away from the goals. You just have to think of everything. I'd even come off my line a bit more so that TJ thought he was closer to the goals. Because when he broke through, normally they'll take the extra couple of steps, but I was standing 6 yards off my line rather than on the goal line. So it was deceptive for all the world for the forward. So these are things I think that you try to think of as you're a player, to give yourself something a little bit extra along the line.
We have proven our ability to score goals in many times, and when the half chance didn't arise, or the 3/4 chance, or even the full chance came this time, we didn't take it, like we often have done. But that's when you see that happening all the time in sport, in all sports. And when it doesn't happen like that, you kind of tend to think, you're not really firing in all cylinders, and that's the way sport works.
Immediate concern for Henry Shefflin. Right now, Kilkenny are down to 14 players, and Shefflin, with the doctor there attending to him, and he's being forced to walk across the field. He's going off, and he's going to be replaced now by Michael Rice. Well, he's lasted just under 13 minutes.
We assume the worst. Look, he's just broken down, so straight away we have a range who's coming on, so get him ready, get in there, and that's it. You just focus on carrying on and just watching out to see how it develops and everything else. And obviously, in your heart, you're saying, God, I wish it hadn't happened, Henry, For Henry, for the team, for everybody, and it's cruel, but not even suggesting for a second that it had a bearing on the result, because that's part and parcel of the game, like I said, and it has happened before, it has happened to other teams, and that's the cruel part of sport. He was completely and utterly able to start a game. He was absolutely able to start every training session, as was John Tennyson, and John tends to get lost in this whole situation because of Henry's reputation, obviously. But both of them had the same injury, and both of them, the preparation they put into it was just wonderful to see, and the way that they were, that they were able to be brought back to a position where they could carry on and play the match.
I often find too when someone like Henry goes because he means so much to the team and the squad, and all of a sudden there's everyone's coming up another 10 or 15%, and before you know it, you're nearly losing percentage points by one of their great players going off. But again, it was very much, I just get Henry a tap on the back on the way down the tunnel. Very sad for a guy chasing, the amount of All-Irelands he's chasing to have to leave the field. But as I said, we were very much focused on our own performance.
I kind of took the freeze throughout the league, and I knew any day that Henry wasn't starting that I'd more than likely be taking him, and I knew if things went wrong for Henry in the final that I'd have to step up to the mark, and I suppose it's an added pressure, but if you're good enough to be playing and you're good enough to take the freeze, there's no reason why you shouldn't take him. And I missed one or two on the day, but I suppose it wasn't the losing of the game, but still, these pressure frees have to be taken on the day.
Big one up towards Eddie Brennan, trying to break it down to an incoming forward, and that one is Aidan Fogarty. And Fogarty, his customary style, very difficult character to mark, his unorthodox style of approaching a shot, but that was bouncing around there, was broken down, and Taggy was anticipating, and the former man of the match in an All-Ireland final some 4 years ago gets his first point in this final. Tipperary back. Brendan Maher now firing in a shot from 50 metres out, and that one has gone straight between the post and over the bar. Great score by a really fine young player, Brendan Maher, just 21 years of age.
We lost Henry early in the game. We conceded a goal, and they were going pretty well, and we were struggling. But I think we were lifted. We were. Different players stood up and took massive responsibility at various stages of that first half, and as a team we refused to lie down, even though we weren't firing on all cylinders and everybody wasn't flowing. We had strong performances throughout the field, and that's important, and that's the way it tends to be. And as long as you have players, taking on responsibility and refusing to lie down and showing leadership like that, you'll always have a chance. And in hurling, it's for certain in hurling, 6 points, 7 points, 8, 9 points can be very fragile lead, and that was it.
So 5 points the margin. From the puck out towards Scarrow Ryan, the ball flies over his head, however. Owen Kelly's over there to try and pick it up, shortens the grip on the stick, inside to Noel McGrath, trying to make some inroads here, trying to go by one or two backs. He's succeeded, kicking, and he's kicked the ball wide. It's Tipperary's first wide, but it was a glorious chance for him to got something out of that.
Absolutely brilliant ball by Owen Kelly again. He's having some game. Every ball is glued to his hurl. And Noel McGrath, he did everything right, got inside his man, and I know he plays a bit of football as well, but bad wide.
Comes out towards Tennyson again, playing well, slipping him at the hand as far as Michael Fennelly, trying to burst forward, challenged there by Shane McGrath, foul, the referee has decided, and because there was a little protest by Tipperary, the ball has been brought forward, and it's now a more scoreable position for Kilkenny and for Richie Power. Again, a very central position. Probably got his confidence going at this stage. Should have anyway. He can afford to because he's striking it beautifully. They're not easy frees by any manner of means. So a goal between the teams, 1-7 to 7 points.
Quick puck out by Brendan Cummins there, but the ref is saying he hadn't blown the whistle.
So plan A might have been a short puck out. Plan B was a kind of a half between a mid and a long puck out, and it really didn't work out initially, and it's got to be a free out for Tipperary. Brendan Cummins will take this free, just inside his own 45-metre line. Oh, it's a huge one. Oh, it's over the bar. His first ever point in championship hurling.
His point, I thought, was amazing. I think it was pure adrenaline that probably drove that ball over the bar, because he was miles out. And next thing the ball's gone over the bar, and you just get the feeling that, God, there's something happening today.
Collected here well by Brendan Maher, trying to get a hand pass and a return from Padraig Maher. Noel McGrath eventually on there as far as John O'Brien, and that's pinpoint accuracy, and it's over the bar in a second for John O'Brien, and it's a goal of 9 to 7 points. Tipperary leading with 5 minutes to go to half time, and And John O'Brien completed a fine move, and Tipperary are looking confident. Space at a premium. Out to Shane McGrath. Again, closed down by TJ Reid. So difficult to get any kind of attitude whatsoever in this match. Sheer intensity of the game. Michael Cahill trying to feed it back out, but he gives it away to Richie Power of Kilkenny, and Kilkenny trying to make some inroads to Richie Power. Back out again to Michael Fennelly. This way and that, and the referee says thrown, and it's got to be a free out for Tipperary. So once again, Brendan Cummins. This is a good deal longer. He's going for it. And it's stopped by the other goalkeeper, PJ Ryan. Goal to goal. Oh, it's left behind here to Patrick Maher. In the end, Gearóid Ryan with a snapshot high up into the air, inside the right-hand post and over the bar. And now there for Tipperary, and a first for Gearóid Ryan. 6 points between the teams. Kilkenny had closed it to 3, but now back out again. Very good spell by Tipperary before half-time, as they try to maximise their advantage. But Owen Larkin's raiding inside here to Power. Oh, what a goal! Richie Power gets his 6th ever in the championship, his first this afternoon. And that's a goal and 4 for the man from Carrickshock. 3 points the margin. 3 minutes to go to half-time, and it started with Owen Larkin raiding. Look at the good run here, an intelligent run made by Richie Power, and a clinical finish to the back of the Tipperary net. It's some match.
Like I know 9 times out of 10 Owen will throw a hand pass and it'll be perfect, it'll be into your hand, and all you have to do is make sure and get it on target. And you know, I held my run as long as I could, and I just kind of broke off the back of Paul Curran, and as I said, Owen threw it to me, and thankfully, like, I nothing to do, really only kind of put it in the net because I was so close to the goal. But thankfully it went in, and I think it brought us back into the game just before half-time, you know, and it kind of gave us the boost that we needed.
I think a team like Kilkenny, they have such quality all over the field and even on the subs benches that you're never going to keep on top of them for a long period of a game. They're going to get their spell, and when they got their spell, they actually transferred it on the scoreboard. So we were probably very lucky to be going in a point ahead at half-time.
If we hadn't battled, I'd be here, and I mightn't be here, I don't know. If we hadn't battled, it would be a serious problem, you know, because it's certainly our job to battle, you know, and it's our job with ourselves in the back room to make sure we battle. So I have no problems whatsoever with the way we battled right throughout the whole game, because, I mean, certainly we battled our way. In the first half, I suppose, that we were playing second fiddle in, we battled our way back to where we conceded a goal to just be within a point, you know, of Tipperary at half-time, and we were battling right up to the end of the game.
Paddy Stapleton bottled up. Now they've got to be clever in their use of possession, as the referee blows his whistle at the end of a first half where the crowd rises to the two teams. Richie Power has been the scorer-in-chief for Kilkenny, who played against the wind for the opening 36 minutes as it happened. They'll be much happier, I think, going in, because they'll have that win behind them. And at half-time here at Croke Park, there's just a point between these teams.
Well, I mean, the game had gone very well for us for the first 30 minutes. You know, we had very much been on top, and, you know, I guess in some ways a 1 point lead probably wasn't a fair reflection in terms of the dominance we had in the first half, but at least we had a lead, and, you know, our point of view was that we would have taken a point lead at the start of the game.
I think we were disappointed with ourselves that we had conceded a lot of maybe stupid frees, as we'll call them. You know, and with the calibre of Henry or Richie Power taking those frees, you know, they're not going to miss. Like, they were maybe 40, 50-yard frees, so we kind of let them back into the game that way. But I think the goal they got was a serious goal. Like, you know, Owen Larkin sold it through, drew his man, and Richie Power's finish then was top class, so that would really lifted him. But I think once we knew we could curtail their frees, we knew we'd have a massive chance in the second half.
Obviously, you know, we realised, OK, Henry was gone, but Michael Rice had come in, who was playing really, really well. And he was fine. There wasn't a problem that way. So it's a question of just, if we were to continue on what we're doing, really, keep that pressure on, keep playing strongly, players keep constantly taking you know, responsibility, showing leadership, and try and drive it forward.
I said going into half-time, if we can just kind of regroup, get everyone into the dressing room, sit down and have a chat about it, that we're still in this game, you know, and if we come out at the start of the second half and really go for it, you know, if you could get back level or maybe edge a point or two ahead, anything could happen on the day. Like, with 35 minutes to really put things right if we really wanted to, you know, and you know, Henry was there as well, and you know, he said a few words, and you know, we went out for the second half really determined to try and put things right.
And back here at Croke Park, it's half-time between Kilkenny and Tipperary. Tip leading by a single point, 1 goal and 10 to 1 goal and 9. Cyril, Tip, I suppose you'd have to say, did 70% of the hurling in that first half, just a point in it.
Yeah, but the hurling and the scores got by Tipperary from long range have been unreal. They've been really up for the game, and they are up for it. But like Kilkenny are going in, and even though they're a point on at half-time, Brian Cody be kind of saying to them, look lads, we didn't hurl at all, we're in the game. Now,
They've weathered the storm, basically.
Yeah, Liam Sheedy won't be happy. There should be a lot more up than the 1 point, but still they're a point ahead, and it's still all to play for.
You know, I was reasonably happy to start of the second half because we were in the game, we were creating chances, we were on the ball. And it went ahead, you know, and it kind of toed and froed. And when we had opportunities probably to go ahead to take the lead early on, didn't happen, but that's the way it works. And the game second half lasts for 35, 37 or 8 minutes. And I don't ever tend to kind of think it's all over for us at any stage.
I missed an easy enough chance to draw us level at the beginning of the second half. And then TJ, of course, got the sideline, which was a marvellous score, and that brought us back level with Tip. And you know, it was really then that we needed to put the foot to the accelerator and push on and maybe get a point or two ahead, and then see where it led us. But it just didn't happen.
Neatly picked up there by Michael Fennelly. Stopped initially by Paddy Stekelham. And away it comes back up to the forwards again. Brilliantly caught by McGrath. On to Lark Corbett. They fire hurleys at him, but nobody's able to stop Lark Corbett, who's in for a second goal. One after 10 minutes, another after 42, and it's Tipperary who lead the final by 2-11 to 1-10. As he was striking it, they were firing hurleys to try and stop him. He won an All-Ireland medal in 2001, and he's looking for another here.
It was a great ball. One in the defence. It was actually flicked from Pádraig, and Garrod caught it, and he'd stepped in front of JJ, and he struck a lovely ball, top class forwards ball into the edge of the square, and Noel had a lovely catch, and you know, in the sublime movement, you know, had spotted Lara on the run, and what a pass. You know, he opened the defence with the pass, and in fairness to Lara, there was a flying hurley at one stage, but I think Lara was very clear in terms of where the ball was going, and a great finish.
Well, I remember Noel McGrath getting the ball, and the very minute Noel McGrath got the ball, I knew I was going to get a pass, because Noel McGrath, 9 times out of 10, will pass the ball to the man in the right position, and Noel would see him making the run. So I knew that I was going to get the ball just before Noel got it, because he's excellent at that, and he done it twice again. Limerick last year in the semi-final, he gave me 2 balls in the space of 5 minutes as well for 2 goals. He done it again Wexford this year inside in Thurles. So I knew that he'd done it before, not only once but 4 or 5 times. So I knew that if I was in the right position, I was going to get it.
It was great again, you know, to see the way the ball being flashed in and Larry ran onto it. And again, like everybody else, I was trying to see down through it, but you know, and you never know, because PJ Ryan had such a great year in 2010 as well as 09. I said, you know, he'll end up saving this thing, you know. So when it flew by him and Larry had roofed it, like, you know, I was expecting Larry to do it. But when you're facing a goalie as good as he is, like, you're just not too sure, like, actually a green flag is starting to be waved.
TJ Reid trying to pick the ball up, supported here by Michael Rice, dodging around, losing possession, picks it off the ground, and it's going to be a free to Tipperary, and it heats up. Pushing and shoving and jostling, and the linesman in there to try and restore a little bit of order as the mist descends on Croke Park, in front of an attendance of just under 82,000, and Michael Wadding for Waterford says to them all, cool it down a little bit, lads, there's a long, long way to go. Brendan Cummins has got a point already in this game. From inside his own 65 metres, he fires it in, they race for it, breaking down here, and Noel McGrath has found the back of the net! Another one for Tipperary! 2 minutes after Lark Corbett's second goal, Noel McGrath is on hand to steer it in past PJ Ryan, and the goalkeeper is beaten for the 3rd time.
You know, great run by Noel. You know, he made a run for 15, 20 yards and the ball just dropped into the square and it just broke. And, you know, he had come an awful long distance and got a great flick and it popped up in front of him again and knocked it into the net and he followed it in himself. I thought he was going to go through the net after the ball going in.
I think, it's just the goal he scored. He shouldn't have been in near the square, but he ran all of 45 yards. So it just probably shows the hunger and the intelligence of such a young player. And, you know, as the one man, I suppose you wanted to be on the end of a ball, and I don't know how he got in over the line, but I got in somehow. But that was really, I think that was really the drive at that time that said to us, look, drive on from here now, and as a team we did.
It certainly gave them huge impetus and huge lift. But again, you know, I thought, you know, our response as regards battling on was very strong, you know, and players really drove forward, and we still continued to take the game to Tipperary.
Will it be 5 in a row, that historic target, or will Tipperary foil them this time, just as awfully foiled Kerry in football back in 1982? An intriguing next 20 minutes of sport on one of the big days in Irish sport. Kilkenny living dangerously at the back. Jackie Tyrrell advancing. Adventurously taken out eventually and slipped in here as far as John Tennyson. The Cats looking for scores. It's got to drop short. Out comes Brendan Cummins. Oh, the hand pass goes to TJ Reid. What was he doing? And it's gone over the bar. TJ Reid's got a point from play, just a third for Kilkenny in this match. He's got 2 of the points from play, but Brendan Cummins had time here, hand passed it to a couple of players who are being well marked, and the initiative is swinging this way and that. 19 minutes into the second half, broken down. Kilkenny trying to pick up the initiative again in the middle of the field. Again, it's Jackie Tyrrell. 10.5 minutes since Tipperary last scored. Tyrrell's going forward again, got a point in last year's match, on as far as Derek Ling, and it's gone over the bar. Well, he can be the catalyst in their revival. Derek Ling's first points since being introduced. That's missed by Noel McGrath. Still they battle. Picked up beautifully here. Neat play. Cross here as far as TJ Reid. Letting it fly and putting it sailing between the bars once again.
You know, even though Kilkenny were getting a couple of points, I still felt that we were going to be strong enough this time, mentally, I suppose, and that's what it came down to probably in the last 5 minutes, from our point of view, that could resist this mental pressure Kilkenny were putting on us, and I felt we'd enough in the tank to be able to do it.
When Shane McCannon came on around the 65th minute, I'm not too sure now, we were only 3 points up, we were only 1 puck of a ball up, that was all it was. And Shamey came on, like, you know, he does what Shamey does best, he scored 2 great points.
Into Pádraig Maher, now as you say, at one of his best positions, I think, centre half back. Played there in the league final last year against Kilkenny. That match went to extra time. Who knows how this one is going to go, as Seamus Callanan introduces himself by putting it over the bar. What an introduction. First touch, first shot, brilliant use of possession. Well, he's pumped up, the Tipperary fans are pumped up, and they've got a lead of 4 points here. Intervening there was Michael Cahill, coming across, about to be challenged by TJ Reid. Slipped it out to Pádraig Maher for Tipperary, and Tipperary advance again, and it's up towards Seamus Callanan once again, looking for another score. What a point! What a superb score! 2 brilliant points by Seamus Callanan. That's absolutely superb play.
When I look back on the video after, I didn't realise it was only 3 points for Shamey come on. I couldn't believe it, because I said that we won by, was it 8 or? And I says, surely we were up more by that, but we weren't. Like, so it just goes to show, as good as Tipperary played and the goals that we got, there was still only 3 points in it when Shamey Callanan came on.
Tipperary didn't presume, oh yeah, we have it now either. You know, the final whistle is the only time that matters. And you know, in hurling, if we, I kept thinking the whole time right up to the very end, if we could get a goal, and we had half chances again. You know, we were in the game, and as long as we were only about 3 or 4 points behind, I really felt that we still had a chance.
It kind of crosses your mind, like, saying that this is slipping away from you, and you know, you're kind of saying, like, how are we going to come back from this? But you know, straight away you have to get rid of any negative thoughts that are in your head until the final whistle goes. You can never be beaten, and the day you give up before the final whistle goes, it's pretty much a day that you should think about maybe calling it a day, you know. And we fought tooth and nail to try and get back into the game, and you know, as I said, it was just one of those days. I don't think Tip were ever going to leave that league go.
And David Young wins this one and battles to keep it away from Michael Fennelly. He slips it in there. Once again, they hold the possession, and Benny Dunn sees it drop over the crossbar. What a difference 12 months can make to a team and to a player. This time last year, he was sent off in the final. He's come on as a sub today, and with his first shot at the target, he's put it over the bar and put 5 points between them. Seamus Hennessy has a go again, and surely now there is no way that Liam Sheedy's Tipperary can be deprived of the Liam McCarthy Cup for 2010.
I must say I'd be great friends with Benny, and what Benny Dunn went through after '09, like, it was nobody's business, you know, from a strong hurling family to have the disappointment of that. And while it wasn't his fault we lost the game, everybody said that to him, everyone around us said that to him. He obviously felt being a hurling man, God, you know, I want another shot at this. So I must say, when Benny came on and scored that point, I just thought, look, we're on our way here, you know, because the emotion of all that in the middle of that, for Benny to do what he did, you know, was just outstanding character.
When you're 4 or 5 points up against Kilkenny, you're still on your game because you're never safe. But I think for me, Benny Dunn's point and Seamus Hennessy scoring straight away after that, there was a small bit of, you know, I mean, it's going to be hard to catch us now because the fresh legs were on, and I think Laird in to get the finishing goal just really capped off what a performance we had on that day.
Padraig Maher will be hoping to lead Tipperarys under-21s on Saturday next to another All-Ireland victory, boosted by this one here, as that ball is caught inside there by Padraig Maher, and it's swept in the end, and it's finished in the back of the net, and there is another one for Tipperary, and for Liam Sheedy, and Lark Corbett has got a hat-trick in the 73rd minute. This is how he finished it off. Maher played it to him, and Lark Corbett with 3 to make it 4-17 to 1-17, and it's a terrific day for the Premier County.
There was people nearly coming in. I mean, the sideline had gone a bit crazy this stage, and I was thinking back, you know, there's still only 5 points in it, and it was only when Lars' goal went in and the net shook. I actually gave a hand signal. I think, yeah, we have it now. So that was nearly on the 72nd minute. So you just don't, you can't relax with it. It's against quality side like Kilkenny. You never get the feeling that, you know, you're over the line here and you're just waiting for the final whistle. But, you know, when Lars shook the goals again for goal number 3 with time running out in the clock and giving us a 9-point gap, you just got the feeling, yes, we have our hands in it.
I remember a big high ball coming in, and I remember I think there was 2 or 3 lads went for Bonner Mayer, and he was on the ground, like, you know, fair play to him, he spotted me just outside him, and he gave a good hand pass out, and I just remember just getting a touch on it and just letting it fly, like, you know, and thank God it went in. I didn't think it was going to go in. I thought Noel Hickey was going to get a block on it, but lucky enough that he didn't, just went in past the goalie.
You know, I think it was the real nail in the coffin, really, kind of put an end to the day, and it really kind of put a nice end to Tipperary's day, you know, to be crowned All-Ireland champions. And I kind of thought to myself after the game, I didn't think it was clear-cut as the scoreline said, you know, but at the end of the day, there is a saying, like, the goals win games, and as I said, Tipperary got 4 on the day, and like, we only got 1, but it hit home once that ball went in, you know, that there was no coming back, you know, no getting back, and it was kind of the end of a dream, really.
I don't think at any stage, even when Larry scored the goal, that I can safely say we're going to win this, you know, because I just know Kilkenny too long. I've picked it out of the net too many times playing against Kilkenny in 2 or 3 minutes, even, never mind to say 30 minutes, to think like that we had him, you know. No way. I think every little instant, like Benny's point, gave you confidence and gave you belief to repel what Kilkenny were going to throw at you. I think that's what it was doing. It was building blocks all the way. But I must say there was no stage until the final whistle blew. Actually, when I was told this is the last puck out, then I knew. Up until then, there is no way I was going to even think of looking at scoreboards or worried about it, because the prize is too great to blink. And I think that's what happened to us before. We blinked, and, you know, there's no way we could do that.
seasoned manager that he is, he has lost an All-Ireland final here in what was his 10th time to take a team to the final on the first Sunday in September. But it is the Tipperary fans and team and mentors who deserve to celebrate for a long, long time. Very few people rated their chances. It was all about the drive for 5, but they've been foiled, and Owen Kelly has led the Premier men from Tipperary to win the Liam McCarthy Cup and take the title for the 26th time.
It's a very, very special moment, you know. I guess Mick and Eamon and myself, you know, we probably get our fair share of criticism over the years, as all managers do, and, you know, everyone will tell you what you're doing wrong, but we were always focusing on the things we were doing right and trying to make sure we were always looking to find the next level, and, you know, through ourselves and the backroom team, and to get to share that moment with your players. And there's a real family feeling within that squad, and it's been building over 3 years. So, you know, and there's loads of times that you get that family feeling, you don't actually get the cup at the end of the day. So to actually bring home the Liam McCarthy Cup after the disappointment of 2009, it was a really, really special day.
I remember the referee blowing the whistle. I remember first of all shaking hands with Noel Hickey, and I think second of all went over to Jackie and shook hands with him, because I remember Jackie shaking hands with me. I think it was in 2009. As I said, I'd only love to get back again and shake his hand, and hopefully that we'll be after winning that day.
My feeling was, you know, that's it. You know, we haven't won Tipperary, and you go ahead and you congratulate Tipperary, and you know the players are going to be disappointed. You know it's going to be a massively disappointed dressing room, and that's the whole sort of All-Ireland weekend, you know, it takes on a different dimension. We have been very, very privileged to have a wonderful dimension to it for the previous 4 years.
Personally, it was just magic, like, you know, to be honest. I mean, I never thought I'd have that sensation again. And to have it and to have it done, and to be sure that it was nailed on, it wasn't going to be taken off you, was the key thing, you know. I mean, it was just brilliant. I mean, I remember my legs were slightly weak, like just down my knees, and I thought, we've won the final again, like, you know, this is just amazing. And for the younger fellas as well then, to see all them, like, this is the start of their careers, you know, and hopefully 2010 won't have been the end, but that's another chapter, I suppose. But just for them guys to come on and have won All-Ireland in the first 2 or 3 years of being involved is just massive, because they've no real baggage. I remember I was involved for 6 years before we won an All-Ireland, and the amount of baggage you pick up over that time, you know, of the heartache and all the disappointment and all this, oh, it'll be next year, it'll be your year, you know. Just for those guys as well to get this start is fantastic for them.
Your heart sinks, to be honest, you know. Very little that's said to you at that time can make up for the disappointment and the heartache that you feel losing in All-Ireland. Pretty much you're just standing there in the middle of Croke Park on your own, and you're just thinking to yourself like that it's gone. You know, you had a chance to be part of history, and it was just taken away from you really in the space of 70 minutes, you know. But it was the first senior All-Ireland that I tasted defeat in, and, you know, it's definitely not a feeling that I want to kind of go back and experience in the near future.
On a great day for Tipperary, Christy Cooney, the GA president, hands over the cup to Owen Kelly. The Premier County are the top county in hurling for 2010. What a day to be a Tipperary hurling fan. A ticker tape reception. Well, this is what we wanted to see, an opportunity to properly celebrate the captain receiving the cup.
I think to stand up there, to have your teammates on the steps beside you, I could see them all the time when I was giving the speech, and even when I accepted the cup, I remember distinctly looking towards them, and I don't know what I was saying to them, but I think when you do know all the hard work as a squad you've went through for that 3 years under that management team, that special feeling is just exactly what you want.
A Uachtarán, a Cahirlig, a Dina Usla, August Luke Dimanita, Tá an Áilsarm an Curran Shaw, Ardú, Edson Friern, August Winter Tipperarys.
I had obviously the small bit of Irish prepared from the night before, and I just didn't want to leave anybody out. That was the one thing I was determined not to leave anybody out, so I had those few words prepared. But after that, then, I just said I'd go off the cuff. I think once you speak from the heart and maybe speak how you feel, you can never go too far wrong.
It's a great honour for me as a Tipperary man to accept the Liam McCarthy Cup. on behalf of a massive, excellent Tipperary squad and the people of Tipperary. "2009 is dead and buried. 2010 is truly alive."
You know, Owen, typical of the man, you know, I don't actually know where he found the energy to give such a speech at the end of the game, because he had worked tirelessly hard throughout the game, but a fabulous speech, and you know, typical of the guy. I mean, he's a brilliant captain, and to be the first man from South Tipperary to go and bring the cup back into Tipperary, I think was a very special moment for his family and his club and everyone in Tipperary, and he was a huge player for Tipperary over the last number of years.
It's been a long journey that probably started not this year, but I go back as far as 2008 when this squad got together. I'd like to think that we created our own identity. Our characters and our personalities came through, not only today, but in the last 3 years. All those things I've already mentioned: professionalism, honesty, organisation. The next man, what can any of us say, guys? He came in when the ship was sinking. But by God, is this ship sailing today? All the way from Portroe, our Messiah, our leader, Liam Sheedy. Just to finish up, the Tipperary supporters, I don't think you're the best in the country. You're the best in the world.
In 2001, we got the cup down on the pitch, and it was just, I won't say a disaster because we won the All-Ireland, it was great, but it certainly, it wasn't going up the steps, right, because since I was 2 or 3 years of age and able to understand what going up steps meant to collect the cup, that's what it's all about, you know, and go up the steps to the Hogan stand to collect it is just the be-all and end-all for me, and that was my first time experiencing it. It was amazing. I'd always wonder what the sensation would be like, but just completely miles above anything I could have ever dreamed of, to be honest.
Last year we were looking up at it, and I suppose there was a lot of other years I was sitting at home on the couch looking at it and picturing, like, you know, will we ever get back there? Will we, like, you know, in 2001, it was that it? And I suppose when you're looking at teams up there collecting the cup, you always try to picture yourself like, will we ever get back there? Is there a possibility? And you can't say to yourself there is. You have to hope, like, it's hope, but you have to try and have a belief, like, but thank God, like, you know, we did.
The hurt and disappointment of last year was still there with the supporters, and I suppose they really grasped on to this management team and this squad that we were working for one another, you know, on and off the field, and our teamwork, I think, was just there for everyone to see. And you know, the one thing Liam Sheedy had instilled in us is that no one ever gave up to the final whistle, and that was evident against Galway. So I think once you have that in any team, supporters will follow and know that it's a genuine team, and that's exactly what we had. The dressing room was mad. When we got back into the dressing room, I think that's when we really let the shackles off, because we were together, and, you know, as I said, everyone knew what it meant, like, you know, but the dressing room was maddest dressing room I'd say I was ever in. And I remember Brian Cody coming into the dressing room and he says, "Lads, you've won the All-Ireland. I can see you're enjoying it. Believe me, enjoy every minute of it, because these days are special," you know. And to even hear the losing manager coming in saying those things, it just probably goes to show what a great sportsman and manager he is too. And there's something I'll always remember as well.
I mean, the hurt that was on those Kilkenny players' faces, the one thing that sticks out in my mind after it. I mean, I've 2 All-Irelands now at this stage, in hurling 15, 16 years. They'd won 7 in 10 years. And they were as upset and crying as if it was their first All-Ireland and no chance of ever winning one again. You know, so whether that was a warning to me for 2011 or not, I don't know. But it's certainly the hurt that those guys were experiencing, like, just to see them in through the helmets, like, you know, it was just showed, I suppose, the calibre of player and person that they have below in Kilkenny, you know, and something that's been respected.
Yeah, it's a great family occasion, you know, and Aisling, I don't know whether she knows the steward in Croke Park or whatever, but she still manages to sneak out. Poor old Gemma wasn't as fortunate. She was left in the stand, but you know, when you get after the game and you get to go back to Margaret and the 2 kids, it's really, really nice. And as you said, family days for the last 3 years have been hurling matches, so, you know, they've gone the length and breadth of the country watching the games. And I think for all of the families, you know, it is nice to be able to meet your family afterwards. And as I said, you know, it's great when you get the chance to come back in and, you know, to have the cup in your hands.
Afterwards then, my wife Pamela was the first person I was looking for. And I got to meet her then later on after we came down after the cup. I went up along the side actually, and the stewards, to be fair, were great. You know, well, not did much choice. I had a hurling in my hand, so I jumped the wire and jumped the fence thing there up and got to go in to see her. Like, you know, so that's it. We got to meet family like that, so it wasn't that detached from them either. You know.
The future is bright for Kilkenny hurling. I've no doubt about that. There's underage talent coming there that's unbelievable. You know, and I think everyone on this year's panel is still going to be hungry for more success next year, you know, so it's just a matter of getting back training in the 1st of January and really taking it from there. And, you know, if tasting defeat in an All-Ireland final can't make you hungrier and wanting more success, I don't know what will.
Kilkenny are the best team we have probably seen in any decade in the hurling championship. Just, I suppose, the way we perform that day is the happy thing. You know, we just probably done to Kilkenny what Kilkenny have been doing to a lot of teams, and everybody admires that kind of hurling, you know. And Kilkenny were absolutely unbelievable champions, you know, and they're still a great team. But I think it's just that we just really got stuck in from the very start and chased everything down. And I think that was the 20 players that we used on the day. You know, there was no one man you'd single out, and I think that's the thing that most Tip supporters are very happy with.
They win in the final, like, you know, like, that's what we went up for. Like, if we were to lose that final and I would score a hat-trick, naturally enough, we would have been all disappointed coming home with the bus. So no matter what happened of who scores what, the final, All-Ireland final is really the one, and winning it. That's the most important thing. Scoring a hat-trick is perfect, but as I said, and I mean it, is what can I offer the team?
A lot of players have an awful lot of mileage on the clock, you know. Super players who have given terrific service and have had great success and have tasted disappointment along the way, which contributed to the success they've had, and also obviously tasted disappointment this year. They have a lot of hurling done, and they're not. A lot of them now are 30 and heading past 30, and you know, you just don't know. You don't know for sure what exactly the future is going to hold for them. You know, they're leaving a terrific legacy, and you know, Derek obviously stepped off the panel there, and you know, players like that, you don't replace them very, very easily, and it's going to be interesting to see. It's a great challenge right now, but I'm not suggesting for 1 second that we're not going to be competitive. We're going to be competitive, I would say, but it's going to be an interesting year from Kilkenny's point of view, and we'll have to wait and see how things go.
I love what I do. You know, I really, really enjoyed the last 3 years. It's been a hugely enjoyable experience, you know, when you get a chance to work with the elite players in Tipperary and try and bring the best out of each other. And like, you know, every bit as much as I brought the best out of them, they brought the best out of me as well. And it's always tough decision. But you know, we are where we are. The country is, you know, we've got to look after the day job, and it is literally a full-time job. And it's just, you know, you got to make sure that if you're involved in something, I would never attempt to do anything that I couldn't give 100%. And you know, just the climate that we're in, you know, my role in Bank of Ireland needs 100%, and that's what it'll get. But you know, in terms of the learning I got for dealing with those players for the last 3 years, money couldn't buy what I got as prices.